Hey there, sweet friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I have been on spring break this last week and I have had so much creativity and so much time because the weather hasn't been really great, so it's kind of been, stuck in the house type of thing. And my spring break was the opposite of my kids' spring breaks, so theirs is like next week. So literally, I have had all this time to myself. So I have had this burst of creativity and all these ideas and things that I have been working on for the past couple of months. I've actually had time to put them into completion. So I'm going to be playing catch up this week and adding a lot of stuff to my shop, and try to get videos to show you what's actually going in my shop. So the first one, this book is actually already in my shop. This was a book I made for a craft fair, and it was a garden craft fair, so everything was garden themed. And I guess obviously it didn't sell, and I must have put it in a box or something because I forgot I had it. And then I was cleaning out stuff last week and I found it. So I had forgotten, because I made this a long time ago. I had forgotten all the good stuff that was in it. So what I did was I took the ring binders off and I put on a bigger ring binder. So I think it was originally 1 inch, and then I put on 1 1/4, and then I added some extra pages. But quite honestly, I was impressed at how much I had actually done, because like I said, I probably made this a couple of years ago. So looking back through it, I was kind of excited that some of the things I did back then, I'm still doing now. So the first thing I want to show you is that on the binding here, I just took some of my vintage sheets and just ripped them into strips, and I tied those on. Then I have just a bunch of envelopes and book pages and pockets, and so I'll just kind of flip through and show you what's in here. And this is, like I said, bug themed, garden themed, but it's also a kid's book, so there's some playful elements in here too. This was one of the books where the pages were really thin and old, so I backed them with some heavier cardstock. So these have been glued and then they've been stitched all the way around. Just some funny random stuff. These were some postcards I had found, and I thought that one was appropriate. I used a lot of like worksheets and stuff from school, and I did some washi tape in here, which I don't usually do washi tape in my journals, but this one I actually did. This is a strip from a vintage sheet that I sewed on. As with all of my spiral bound books, you can tear the pages out and use them for ephemera. So I stuck in some like little field guide books, so you can pull those out, rip those out, and then use them as ephemera. So again, back to another piece of paper. Lots of envelopes in here, and then just, I don't know why, but I put some McCall's dress pattern offcut papers in here, so you'll have some random sewing things in here. So this is some wallpaper. Let me make sure this is in frame. This is some wallpaper that I recently found, and I turned it into a page by putting a transparency over it, and that becomes a pocket. And then this is just a page from an old book. And then on the back, this is nice, and it's like a matte finish, so you could do some journaling on that. Some yearbook pages, some old wrapping paper. This was just a cover to some notes, like some stationery that I had, and so I just stitched around the circles on the front to give it a little bit of detail. So I had forgotten, there's a little poem I found. I had forgotten how much I loved this little book. It's a cute little garden journal. Have some recipe cards in here that are notebook paper's been sewed across, so you can turn those into little journaling cards. So this is an envelope with one of my favorite I have an old sticker collection, and so this is one of my favorite stickers from that collection. This is a piece of paper from an Afghan book, and then I just put some tablet paper on it and sewed it, so you've got a little booklet inside of an envelope. Calendar pages, again, these are glued to a piece of cardstock. So this is definitely a sturdy book. Just a tag. Some of my diskette or floppy disk labels. Some really pretty old fabric. Oh, this little recipe card was called Picnic in the Park. So I tried to pull in like picnic theme. So this is scrapbook paper that's been glued to a worksheet and some graph paper. Look at that. Look at those olives on that like ham loaf. Oh my gosh, that is so unappetizing. And again with the McCall's dress pattern. I think they're all of their feet. And I think that was a 1960s McCall's pattern book. So this is just an overtime card with a little old stamp of a blue jay, and then I stitched around it. So this is fun. This is a file folder that I've reclaimed and turned into a nice fold-out journaling with some fun little fabric. So this is probably my favorite page of the whole book. So this is a page from an ABC Golden Book, 1960, hang on, it has the date here, 1976, so 14th printing, 1976, so somewhere in the late 70s. This came from a board book, so I just took the board book page, put a transparency around it, stitched it on, put a little tag here and a little tag here, and then because this is such a pretty image, then I just slipped in, this is just a little scrapbook paper tag with some old teeny tiny notebook paper that I sewed onto it, and yeah, it's just kinda cute. So, and then the back, this is some handmade paper, and the front is handmade paper, and then this is just some stationery that I glued on, and same thing back here. And then here is the back cover, and I did some spray paint on it. So yeah, so this is already in my shop. So this is the first one I wanted to show you. The next book I want to show you is a Homebodies collection. I know I still have quite a few of those that I want to get in the shop, but they just take so long to get done. Plus I've also got these other journals that I'm working on that I want to release later, like next week. So be patient with me, because I'm just a one-woman show, and like I said, this is not my full-time job, although I wish it was. It's so cool. But anyway, so this is a Homebodies, and this I have not bound yet. I'm getting ready to bind it, so I just thought I'd show you what's inside. This is a Singer sewing book. I kept the original spine intact, so it is the width of the original spine, which I think is like 1.5 inches. So this is going to be a skinnier book. It's long, it's a tall book, but it's going to be skinnier. So it's only got 3 signatures in it. And again, I don't want to max out your book. I want to allow you lots of room to put your own stuff in. So you can kind of see I tried to keep it as minimalist as possible, but still have a lot of fun stuff in it. So love this one because I was able to pull in a lot of polyesters. I was thinking 1970s, 1980s with this book. So you're going to see some of those colors and some of those themes. So the first signature has, I think this one has 4 in it maybe, but again, lots of pockets like you've seen in my last Homebodies. So I've tried to make little booklets to tuck in pockets. This is an old hanky, old wallpaper, and old flocked wallpaper. So this is a pocket, And inside this, I have a book jacket from a book, and I just thought this was so pretty. On the back, I just put some sewing book page, and then I stitched along the fabric to kind of give it some detail. So I thought that was really pretty. Nice journaling card. And actually, I think it'll be easier if I take and just do one signature at a time. Okay, so book page from the original book. I pulled from lots of different sewing books in this, so you'll see, let me get this in frame. You'll see lots of different sewing books. This is some trim that I got at a fabric recycling store, and love it because this just reminds me of a scarf that my grandmother gave me, and it's these same colors, and it was gaudy and groovy, and I still have it and I wear it every once in a while. These aren't really my colors, but this fabric, or this satin ribbon, has just been sitting in my stash, been waiting for the right moment. So this is just sewed onto some scrapbook paper with some old playing cards, some of my quilting calico circles, scrapbook paper, lots of pockets. So this is a this is like a pattern envelope. Here, I'll open this up. Pattern envelope, and then I turned it into double pockets. So there's a pocket in the front with a little booklet, and then the actual pocket of the envelope. So I just took the other part of that book jacket and stitched a little journaling like a journaling card with it. Here's the back of it. This is some ledger paper that I have sewn to cardstock with some fabric trim and just some fancy stitching. And so if you open it up, it looks like this, and there's a pocket inside of this. So check this fold out. This was from a jewelry, it was like a magazine, and I sewed the pages together, and then it made this like fold out journaling card, and then I stitched around it. I just think that, in the colors, oh my gosh, I love the colors on that. Okay, so then the other pocket, the other side of the pocket, I kept the actual stamp of the store that this pattern envelope was bought from, because I always think it's kind of cool to see where those patterns were bought, because a lot of those stores, especially around here in Kansas City, a lot of those stores are not in business anymore, so it's always fun to see them and see where they were located. I always like to drive by and find out where they were located and what those stores have actually turned into now. This is from that jewelry magazine again, and I just stitched around this image because I loved that circle. Added some fabric and just some thread. This is vintage pillowcase trim envelope with a tag and some old fabric. And then here's the back side of the hanky pocket. So this is cool. It's got a little pocket here with one of my thrift store tags that when I go to this thrift store, they give me these tags. So I've been using them. Some handmade paper, some cross stitch. And then this is like a nice journaling card. I put a doily at the top, and I just loved the, it came from a craft book. So I just love the stitching and the craft images. Okay, so that's one signature. Here's another one. So hanky again, little card with, I just stuck some stationery in there. Fun fabric, look at that fabric, that is awesome. That came from my epic estate sale that I went to back in October. Pocket with the ledger paper, and I just turned this into a little booklet with some tablet paper and some more pages from that jewelry magazine. Okay, oh, look at this fringe. I love this fringe. So this is some of the fringe that I have in my, oh gosh, they're in my Etsy shop. They are the trim bundles, I think is what I've called them. And so I just love using this. That's just such fun fringe. And then this is also in my Etsy shop. This is just some, it's a linen fabric, and it's a kind of a coarse weave, but it's got some groovy colors. There's some more of that ribbon, scrapbook paper. So this is a pocket, and I just took an old calendar page that looks like a little kid named Jimmy had written on from 1968, and so I thought that was cool. I glued it to the back of this decorative paper and then just kind of stitched it. Thought that was kind of fun. This is some of my favorite polyester print. Get this in frame here. Polyester print fabric. I love this. I love the peach, and it worked really well in this journal, so I tried to add it as much as possible. This is the back side with some lace. I felt like whoever owns this journal might wear a shirt like this, made out of this, because I feel like my grandma probably did, and she would go play bridge at the country club or with her girlfriends, and so I was just channeling that whole bridge club, polyester, double knit, again, 1970s, 1980s vibe with this journal. So this is another, love that, another pocket, and it's just these 2 pages right here I've turned into a pocket, so I'll just tuck that back in. Maybe, I don't know why I always have such trouble using my pockets whenever I'm on film. I never have any trouble any other time. Ledger paper. This is some cool black lace. Thought that would be kind of fun to add that. Scrapbook paper with this stationery again. Some of my, this is more of a sateen type of fabric, and I just did some buttons, and then just found this little owl sitting on my desk, and so I glued, I glued him on, but then I took little buttons and made those as his eyes, and this is the back of my stitching. All right, last signature. I love this signature. Okay, so in order to see this last signature, I feel like I need to take the whole thing off and just kind of show you one thing at a time. All right, so the first page. So this is some, like I said, some of my wallpaper that I found here recently. And the thing with wallpaper is you can make them pages, but they're pretty flimsy, especially if they're vinyl on one side, which this is. So I had to add some stability. So what I did was and you can see here's the back of it. And this is nice matte finish, ready for any type of art you want to do. So what I did was I took transparency and I cut it down because you have to have some strength along this edge here. So I stitched up the edges, I trimmed it with some vintage pillowcase, added some little paper down here at the bottom, and then some fun little trim. And so these became pockets, and now they're not as floppy. And in the pockets, I just put 2 really cool pages from a Better Homes and Gardens sewing book. They are the cover pages, and they didn't need any adorning because they're beautiful. Those images and the colors are just beautiful. So I just tucked those in. So that's the first page. Okay, so the second page, again, let me take this out of here. Okay, so this is scrapbook paper. So you can kind of see right there. So when you open it up, did some stitching, some trim, and then this is some handmade paper that I had. But then this is the back side, or the front side, I guess. This is an envelope that became a pocket. This is some packaging to some shelf paper that I turned into a little tag, some fun little trim. And then this is a little pocket with some little cutouts. And in here, I took that book jacket again, and I just sewed it to a piece of cardstock, added some trim, and so this tucks in here. And then this is like some velour or flocked trim, and it's pretty wide, so I was able to fold it over to the other side. So here is that peach paper, or that peach fabric again. Love it, love it. And on this pocket, I just took 2 pages together and then folded down the corner so it makes a nice deep pocket. And again, I just put in pages from that Better Homes and Gardens book and tuck those in because that would be great ephemera, or they could be journaling pages. So in this pocket, I love this image. This came from that jewelry magazine, and the colors, and this is a fake hand, but the colors are just, I don't know, just love them. They're just awesome. They go so well with that blaring pink paper there. So on this side, I just have some tulle here in the center. Here's just a little image from a embroidery or crochet book, and I just stitched around the two images, tucked it in here. And then I love this paper. This is from a book. This is a cross stitch or embroidery book. And I just love the blue and the black. And it's nice thick paper, so I didn't need to back it with anything. And then I just have this really big grid paper. And I just stitched it on here. So you have those images, but then you have the grid paper. And then on this side, let me see, put it back in here. There's tulle just in the center. The ledger paper, again, another deep pocket, and in this one I just took two pieces of scrapbook paper and stitched them together to make a nice sturdy little booklet. This is some wallpaper that I found recently and loved, little bitty rolls of it, and I just love, love, love it. Okay, so then in this pocket, this is more of that fabric. This is some of my favorite rayon trim. And then this is a nice thick page. I doubled it, so I glued it together, of one of the pages from the actual book that this came from, that Singer Sewing book. And then this is an envelope that my husband, he had bought some clothing at this store, and so he stuck this envelope on my desk and just happened to be there, so I used it. And then one of these little fold-up postage note cards, and I tucked that in. I did some stitching around it, and that just slides right here in the pocket. Again, I don't know why I can't put stuff in the pockets when I'm on camera. Lord, it's like my fingers don't work. There we go. And then this is some wallpaper that I just stitched on here. And so then that tucks in this little pocket right here, and then there is the back side of the scrapbook paper and the back side of the wallpaper. So there is this entire book. And all I have to do is bind it, and as soon as I get done with this video, I will head off and bind this book together. So I will put this one in the shop. Let's see, today is, sorry, I keep popping my knuckles. I apologize. I will put this one in my Etsy store. Let's see, today is Wednesday, the 21st. Let's go Friday. Oh gosh. How about Friday at 5 o'clock in the evening? How about that? Friday, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. I will put this in my Etsy shop. Now, stay tuned, because hopefully this weekend, I'm hoping to get a video up of something that I have been working on for a while now, and now that I have spring break, I've actually been able to get them complete. If you've been watching my Instagram, you have seen I have been like over posting tons of stuff, but basically I have 24 journals that I'm going to be listing. I'm hoping to get them listed by the Thursday before Good Friday, whatever that date is. And they are going to incorporate, oh my gosh, okay, so much fun stuff. They're going to incorporate upcycled materials, vintage wallpaper, vintage sheets, because I've been on this huge vintage sheet kick, and I have actually a video planned for that. To show you about fat quarters and what you can do with them and things like that. It has some scrapbook papers, it has graph papers, it has lots of trims. Oh my gosh, so much fun trim. And oh, photo albums. Like, I found a different way to use photo album pages, like those old photo albums that you just have laying around, the little books and like 4x6 pages. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. So I'm almost done with those, and as soon as I'm done with those, I plan on getting a video out and getting those listed. And like I said, there will be 24 of them. Oh, and vintage quilts. I forgot. Yes, I'll be using vintage quilt tops, and everything has been thrifted except the scrapbook paper, which we'll talk about when I, do the flip through of that. But yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, so much stuff going on, which means I need to go have some more coffee and get some of this stuff done. So this will be posted in my Etsy shop on Friday, this Friday. So today's 21st, 22nd, 23rd at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. This garden book is already in my Etsy shop right now, and look for a video to come soon. Also, I'm thinking of doing another giveaway, but that's gonna have to be in a couple of weeks. Guys, have a great rest of the day, and I hope you guys do something creative today. Stay healthy, stay happy, and bye.